Okay, we're back. We are doing the thing. Should we sing? I don't know. I was in a more of a confident singing stage, but I realized my voice for singing isn't the best. I can sing on tune and pitch, I guess, but the whole voice is just not. It's not that good. My talking voice apparently is better than my singing voice. Maybe. God damn it. Maybe you think of me when you are all alone. Maybe the one who is waiting for you will prove untrue. Then what will I do? Maybe you'll sit and sigh, wishing that I were near. And maybe you'll ask me to come back again, and maybe I'll say maybe. All right, that's what I'm doing. That's all I'm doing. Okay, we got a guest. Let's see. Hello,
Hey,
hello.
how you doing?
I'm doing okay. How you doing?
Doing okay. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, I think I've seen you before, but I don't know if I have or not. Have we
I tried
talked?
to get up in your live a couple times because I've actually really been struggling with something lately, and I don't.
Yeah.
It's weird, and I've explained it to people, and they just look at me like I'm fucking stupid. And I'm sorry about the cussing, but
No, no, you're
like I
fine. You're
don't.
fine.
So,
What's going on?
how expansive is your idea of what can be?
I think the human mind is capable of a lot of things that we don't fully comprehend as a collective.
That's fair. That's actually highly. So I went and watched the Odyssey the other night. Have you watched it?
Ah, yes, dude, I saw that on Sunday. Yeah,
It's great. It's
it
fucking
is.
great, dude.
It's
It's
good.
it's great, dude. Here's my problem with it, and I'm going to be honest with you. At the end of it, I went out and sat in my car and contemplated about what had just happened. It's a 3 hour movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for about an hour of the movie, I saw the scenes before they happened. I felt like I was there. It's fucking weird, bro. And I've
Did you
tried to
read the
explain
book
it to
before?
no,
Yeah.
no, no. It literally it was like I had watched scenes from someone else's life and I knew what they it's weird, bro. It like
Isn't that
I'm not
crazy?
crazy. I'm not crazy, man, but like it don't make sense. It
I think
don't
it's okay to be
fucking make
crazy.
sense.
It's okay to be
Well,
crazy, but
I don't
I'm not call,
disagree either,
I'm not
but
calling you crazy. But like it's interesting because like that's even how like Christopher Nolan like edited it, right? Like he put some shots, like he repeated shots over and over again. It's almost as if like he's tapping into something uh more.
like he was there. Like he was there, bro. Like
I
it's
got yeah. Go ahead.
no, I just like dude, I've told a couple people and they just looked at me like, "What do you mean you was there?" I was like, "Bro, it's almost like," and I know um there were highlight or not highlights, but clips of what happened and stuff like that. But not an hour's worth out of three movies or 3 hours, excuse me. Not that didn't fucking happen, bro. There were a couple scenes that I remember watching on, when it was coming out, stuff like that. But not an hour worth, bro. Not an hour worth, man. I ain't saying I'm like you know a fortune teller or anything like that. But what I will say is like I'm really struggling with the fact that it felt natural. It felt like it happened.
Right. Like, what do you think that? What do you think it is? Like, if you can put a name to it, or like abstract an idea
The
about like what you
simulation,
experience.
the simulation is ending.
The simulation is ending. What do you mean by that?
It's coming to a head. Have you now? I don't know because I've talked to people and they kind of don't understand me as well. Technology has a sickness right now. It has an absolute fucking sickness the way it operates, the way it doesn't operate the way it should, and stuff like it. And I think the simulation, excuse me, is at the end.
When you say technology has a sickness, what do you mean by that?
It doesn't operate the way it's supposed to anymore. There are
What do you
so
mean?
many hiccups in it. Like, all right, so what I do, I'm a general manager at a retail company. We have over 100 stores. We're pretty big, right? And the technology that is used every day it feels like that it's how do I say this? Like it's not uh, it doesn't operate the way it should. That's not what I'm saying here, but it doesn't operate the way it should, and it feels like that the more it's operated every day, it's ground down into a place where it doesn't operate the way it should because it's been used over and over again.
Give me
And
an
I think
example of technology not working. Like, what's a thing like that you've experienced?
I understand there's updates every day with technology. They have to update it to make it work and stuff like that. Like, so here's my thing. All right. So I play Magic the Gathering Arena online.
Yes,
I don't know if you do or not. Yeah.
I've heard about it. I played
Um,
it once, but that's about it.
well, I'm going to tell you, I'm bad as hell. Like, at one point in the world, I was 24th or something like that. Anyway, so I know how to play the game. All right. But what I've noticed is there's so many, every time you, like, if you miss a day, every time there's an upload of new information and stuff like that that you have to sit through, right?
To
Every
Magic the
day.
Gathering.
Every day. Yeah. Every day on Arena, you have to do that. Okay. Here's the thing there's like it's like there's no way every day there's and it's not like a little bit of information, it's many megs of information every day. There's no way they're changing the game that much every day. And what I'll say is the sickness of technology is that it's repeating itself, but it
Help me understand
well,
that. How is it repeating? Like, how is I'm trying to
it
understand how the
it has
technology with Magic the Gathering correlates to the simulation theory and with technology and failing. Because I don't experience technology failing from in my subjective
can I
understanding of it.
so I know this sounds really weird, brother. I
No,
know,
you're
and I know what I've talked about is very weird, but I, it maybe it's just me, but I feel like that technology malfunctions around me. Like, like not saying like I'm some type of special person. I'm not saying that, but it's almost like my energy or whatever the hell it is makes technology malfunction every day, bro. Simple Bluetooth settings not connecting as they did the day before.
That's
Like
interesting.
simple stuff like that. Oh, I just
I've
got paid, bro. Let's
I've
go.
had I've had
Anyway,
experiences where so I'm bipolar and I've had manic episodes in which within each manic episode it's almost obvious that there's a god or that there's something greater going on. I remember when I was listening to
mm,
I was in the kitchen and I was listening to the Doors, Riders of the Storm, into this house we're born, into this world we're thrown,
yeah,
like a dog without a
yeah,
bone, an actor without a home, cries on the storm. And then there's a lyric. Let me look it up. Oh yeah, that life will never end. And when it said that life will never end, the Bluetooth speaker crumbled up when it said never or something like that. I was like, what the fuck? So I applied meaning to it. Um, but it's interesting because like we can look at the world and we can apply meaning to anything. I'm not telling you that your take on the world is wrong. I think it's interesting if anything, and I'm more curious about how it's like to be you when it comes to these experiences with technology. Like do you apply like a greater meaning to it? Like what do you like when this happens? What do you think about reality in general?
I really just don't. I really don't think that I'm normal, and I think that I have to. And as a true intellectual, I have to realize that it means that maybe I'm fucked up in the head. I understand that.
Ooh. I don't think that's a good conclusion. I don't think you're fucked up in the head by what you've said. I think it's okay to experience stuff like this and to think in your own way, and your how you take in the world into your reality is yours. That's true to you. No one can take that away from you, and that's a very critical thing. I think we have to understand as we interact with other people, right? Your reality is your reality, and we get somewhere together when we are curious with each other. So like I'm not judging you at all. I'm not saying you're crazy. I'm not saying you're fucked up in the head. I think it's more interesting than anything.
I never thought that, by the way. And, you seem like you're generally curious and stuff like that. Which, by the way, most people aren't. They
We
just
ought
take
to
it how
be.
it is.
We
But
ought
we
to
should.
if we're gonna thrive and progress as to the human species, we ought to be curious. We ought to take stuff like what you said seriously, so we can understand what is reality, right? Because we live in different realities, like the left, the right, of course. It's like an obvious one, but when it comes to like the system being fucked, it goes deeper than just politics. Like within the mental health, I think it's a mental health crisis, and I think if we're not curious, open minded, and understanding, I know it's controversial, but if we don't have that in our value system, in our foundation with who we are, I think that people without that have a mental illness too. It's how
They do. Of
we
course
ought
they
to see
fucking do. Yeah.
we ought to see people as humans and understand what they understand so we can progress. And I already said that, but I think it's critical.
I think I think the majority of people I meet in this world, and I am not, I should be, but I'm not arrogant or anything like that. I think the majority of people I meet in this world are just fucking stupid. They're absolutely fucking stupid, bro. I told my mom this the other night we were sitting out. And I was like, Mom, you know how difficult it is to deal with everybody in this world, which I'm in retail, so I deal with people every day. I'm like, do you know how difficult it is to sit here and look at this dude, look at this woman and stuff like that and be like, they're just fucking stupid, bro. There's no idea of fucking learning to be better. There's no idea of feeling uncomfortable to learn, and it's weird to me, bro. It's fucking
Right.
weird.
I get what you're talking about, but we have to be careful, like calling them that and believe in that, right?
I
Because it could
agree.
be true, right? But what we have to do is, if we're at this level, if we think we're at a higher level, it's up to us to pull the other people back up to our level, right? And I do this too. I just did this today to my sister. In my head, I called her a name because it's something that she's not doing. She's not curious with how who I am and how I operate and how my brain works. She judges, and I can say a word that she is, but I'm like Brady, and the voice of reason in my head is like, don't do that. I'm like, I know you're right, you're right, and I can't look at her in that way because even subconsciously I might react in such a way where it's not good for another person, right? So I think it comes to how we talk to ourselves is critical, but how we think about others is critical too, because we want them to come up with us, right? We want them to understand what we understand.
Agree. This is a very big struggle for me, sir. You know,
That's okay. We all learn. I'm still learning how to do it too, right? But it's the more we are aware and conscious of who we are as people, we can, it's interesting because like I can make a mistake and I can be really aware of that right after I make the mistake to never make it again. But like, how do I not make it again? And I think that's how we self discipline ourselves. And there's ways I can get into, but I don't want to ramble.
Brady, can I tell you something?
Yeah,
We're kindred, bro.
we are.
We really are. We are.
I love you like a
I
brother.
haven't,
If that makes
dude.
if that means anything to you, I love you like a
It
brother for
fucking
how you
does,
think.
bro. It does, bro. I honestly, I'm like, I hear what you're talking about and stuff, and it feels natural. It feels like that's the way it should be and stuff like that. And I'm not trying to be fucking weird about it and stuff, but like that is kind of like leading into what I was saying. Like I say that I feel like people are stupid and stuff like that. It's more of a non recognition of being cognizant about what the hell's going on around you and stuff like that. It's not that I think they're unintelligent or that they don't matter. It's that it feels like they don't get on a higher understanding of what the hell is going on around you, bro. You know, and I'm
Yes,
sad for them. I'm very sad for them.
but it's possible, and it's up to us, and we're doing it right now, and you do it in your own life but we're having this talk right now, and there's 8 people watching. We're modeling this out for people, and we're exploring our minds vulnerably, which I think is a beautiful thing. And I appreciate you for being vulnerable with your mind and just explaining something that you thought people thought was crazy, but it's your mind, and that is what it is. And I have crazy thoughts, but like I am crazy, and I can admit that because I have been crazy before. But it's I believe it's like having these conversations that, like, at least for me, it's making me become a better Brady. Like I am articulating myself in a different way tonight that I haven't ever spoken aloud before because you
I
came
love
into
you.
the live, and
I love you.
you with your mind, it's like we're like plugging in puzzle pieces. Like your mind is coming into my mind, and I'm like, yes, this makes sense to me, and this is how we progress as humans. It's a ripple effect. We start small. There's 9 of us right now. We start small and we grow and we grow and we grow. And I'm optimistic that just having this conversation, it exponentially grows to the point where we don't understand the net positive that comes from it, right? And the reason I say this is I think we've already won. And and if we look at the world and it we can conclude that the pattern is doom, that's not the case because we're still trying. It's me and you and the people involved in this live. We're doing something that I think should be done more. Um, I can say that, on TikTok I typically see debates and arguments which can be educational and entertaining, but like this gets to the deeper root. And like anyone, like I don't know your political affiliations, your religious affiliate, like what your beliefs are, but like we came together and we're figuring this out,
That
and
doesn't
that's
matter.
how it should be.
That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, bro. I look at you as a human. I look at you as someone that you're trying to figure out why it is so fucking confusing, bro. It's confusing, man.
It's okay.
That's tough.
It's okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of layers to it, but we can get there together. And I believe it's the stories we tell ourselves that's critical to human flourishing. And we've been doing this since we've ever been able to probably be conscious in the first place, is telling stories. And I believe we can use like different beliefs and ideas to reach a universal story that keeps the diversity within people, within their backgrounds and their culture and who they are as people, but have a story that resonates with the human species. It's possible. I know it is. I don't know all the answers, but I know to remain curious, open
Yes.
minded, and understanding to get there with everyone.
You know the old adage, the to the victors go the spoils, and the spoils are that of knowledge, the or the lack thereof of transfer of knowledge. It's only a transfer of knowledge to sit there and prop the victors up. I think I have a problem with that. I think most history is bullshit. I think I think most history is not true. And I don't. And the thing is that the conundrum of it is, I may think that, but it don't make it not true. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. I don't know what. Like I'm so lost and so um, just like I just feel like I'm out here um, absolutely just losing my shit.
Let's get to that. I do want to get to that. But when it comes to truth, it's really interesting what you mean when it comes to history, because the history doesn't have to be true, but it's the people in the past that got us to where we're at today, and we can appreciate that at least, right? And I'll say this: what's true is what we make of it. So do you believe that porcupines can shoot their quill?
I heard that story a long time ago.
But what do you believe? Like, can they or can they not, or
I
maybe
ain't
not?
seen it. I ain't seen it. How would I know? You know,
So no.
I don't know.
So I don't know.
Like
So
I'm the first person to say I don't know when I don't know. I promise you.
and I think that's a beautiful thing. So you say you don't know, but like it's a possibility that they could maybe.
Correct. Correct. It's a
So
possibility.
so with that knowledge, you were saying maybe, which I would say, like, if you've seen a porcupine with a maybe knowledge, like, you'd keep your distance. So you can have that belief, and maybe saying I don't know is okay. And I think that's, the best thing to say to this answer,
Oh,
to this
quills,
question,
right?
actually. They're quills, yep. And so you might, with this knowledge, stay away from a porcupine with this belief, right? But me
I would.
knowing the actual knowledge, like, I know that porcupines cannot shoot their quill, but I'm more like susceptible. I'm more likely to potentially get closer to it and maybe get injured, right? But like belief at this point in what is true, like if it benefits your survival, it doesn't matter if it's true or not. And that's when it gets really interesting. So when it
I
comes to
think
history, we can tell whatever story we need to. We should be accurate. I'm not saying we shouldn't like strive for like evidence based accuracy. We should, but like I said, it's the stories we tell ourselves, and this is when we abstract like God, for instance. How we do this, I think, is critical to if or just abstract any ideas is critical to how we can survive and flourish as the human species.
you. I want to tell you something right quick. I struggle intensely with God. I struggle intensely with it. Like I feel like He's there, but I feel like it's a possibility He's not. That is crazy to have that fucking that type of outlook and stuff like that. But let me tell you why I think people think that porcupines shoot their quills.
Okay, okay,
It's because, it's because they have seen a picture of a dog with those quills in their nose, and they instantly relate that, hey, that porcupine shot the quills, bro. Not that the
okay.
dog get into it and stuff like that. I think that's kind of the truth of it, bro.
I wonder. Oh, I've always seen it like portrayed in cartoons, like where they
Yeah.
can shoot.
Yeah.
I think in VeggieTales. Oh my gosh, Jonah and the oh my! I'm getting like a memory just like from childhood,
Yeah.
watching
Right.
Jonah and the whale, the VeggieTales one. I swear to God, there's a porcupine that shoots a quill into the bus. Oh my God, I'm just literally getting sorry. I'm getting excited. I'm just getting this memory flooded back. Isn't this interesting how memories work? You say something like I've used this porcupine analogy before, but then you say it in such a way that brings up a memory in my mind about when I
Yeah.
was young watching VeggieTales. Isn't that crazy? Like I think this is how we better understand ourselves, and you're helping me so much, and I just appreciate you for saying all this. Anyways, go ahead.
Where are you
Because
from, bro? Where are you
I'm
from, bro?
I'm living in Kansas City right now.
Missouri?
Kansas.
Why is there a Kansas City, Missouri, and Kansas?
It's right at the state line. It's messed up, man. It's
I
fucking messed
know.
up. I need to get the fuck out of the city.
So why you out that way for?
So I'm a 3D artist. So I used to work at a Fort Leavenworth. I don't mind sharing my fucking history.
Fort
I used to work
Leavenworth,
at
bro.
I used to create 3D art for training the army for serious games. I can
Hmm.
just drop my resume, I guess. I've worked in Los Angeles on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, The Marvels, a few other TV shows and movies. I've also worked at medical centers, creating like a therapeutic virtual reality simulator to help people with autism ease into getting a haircut. So I've had a lot of different stuff in the past, but I'm not doing 3D right now, except for freelance. But um, I see there's a great need for these kind of like educational simulations or training purposes, and I really like that. But I also like the aspect of doing entertainment and trying to tell a story that resonates with people. And I think both things are fascinating, and I really am fortunate and grateful to have the opportunities that I had in the past.
Dude, you just rattled off all this shit, and I know how you really feel about it, bro. It's placating to everybody's idea of you have to have a resume, bro. That's what it is. I I
What do you
think
mean?
I think I think it's important that you went through that and stuff like that, but that ain't who you are.
Right, there's so much more that goes into it, right? That's only my profession that I've been successful in, and there's a whole nother aspect of me, like going on live and sharing my mind. I think. Oh, thank you so much, people. Nizzle, you're back. Yes. All right. Nizzle, I spoke. Sorry, I had to talk to Nizzle. I spoke to that kid, and I made him understand that he needs to listen better. And you're welcome to come up if you want. And but anyways, uh,
Why would you apologize?
why would I apologize?
Because we fucking apologize for no fucking reason, bro.
I do
We're
that a
just
lot.
apologizing, bro.
I do do that a lot, don't I? I wasn't even aware that I did that.
I do.
Isn't that
I,
interesting? I feel bad
I
for
do too.
rambling sometimes. Like when I just like speak, I feel like who wants to hear my voice? But then I remember Brady. Like you're doing this for a reason, and I'm desperately trying to find people like me, and I have found more people like me on TikTok than I have in my closest like people I've been around. But Brady, hold off. There's two people, three people, four people I know that are fantastic and have these same kind of ideas. So I don't. It's hard to engage with in these topics with people in real life because like when's the right time? Like at work, no. Um,
No,
people, I think
no.
I have to be careful with what I say sometimes, and that I might retract what I said because I think there's a lot of people I know in real life that would be open to these conversations. It's just how do we get there? And but the thing is, I sorry I'm rambling, but sorry I apologize again. Sorry for saying sorry. I I've been using Facebook. I'm just gonna share it out here as a social experiment. In Mania, I tend to ramble and I tend to put a bunch of confusing shit out there. I understand how it comes across as chaotic, confusing, scary, and people worry about me. But I, because I've done that, I now share my mind in such a way where like if the closest people can't understand like who I am at this point, and with me sharing like just information out there, and no one's interacting with it because they just think I'm like I lost my mind, and it's interesting because of my manic posts. No one is engaging with new things I'm trying to say, and it's nothing different than what I'm saying right now. No one gives a shit unless they all just blocked me. So I'm really desperately trying to find people to talk to this openly and this vulnerably, and and I find it on TikTok with you, with Nizzle last night, with Priestley, with Brooke, with all these different people that I know that are in my chat right now that I've talked with. Like we're doing something I believe very very special, and
Do you
it's
realize?
we have to
Do
be
you, do
patient.
you do you realize it's okay?
Yes, I can't control everything. I can only control what I can control, and I have to be patient. And I believe, I believe there's a plan that we all can collectively understand that we'll get there eventually. And I can't be the only one that has this like knowledge because I'm not because you come in and Brooke comes in and Priestley comes in, Nizzle comes in. So I'm not the only one, and this is where I find myself. Um, I
The
don't even
beat
know what to
down's
say.
real, brother. The beat down is real, brother.
I just deeply want to be understood because I believe I have something valuable to to share for human flourishing. But like I don't we all
That's
and
arrogant. You're arrogant, brother.
I
But
know
so
isn't
am
that
I. But
isn't
but
that
I
bad?
but I am too. No, it's not bad. It's not bad. It is arrogant. It is arrogant, but it is to understand that this is what we go through every day, bro. The constant questioning, like, dude, I that's what I do. I question everything, and it's so exhausting. It's so exhausting because no one reciprocates that I'm questioning to make it better. Like, it's weird, bro.
Right. Like
Hey,
I'm fine.
Brady.
Hey Nizzle, hi Nizzle, hi
How are
Priestley. I'm
you?
doing good.
How's your day been?
It's been fantastic. And it's been even
Good.
better just coming on
Michael,
to
I don't mean to interrupt. You've just been talking a long time, and I wouldn't say it's arrogance or cockiness.
Oh
I think
my
it's
god,
a
bro.
sign of confidence. It's clear that you know you have a purpose here and you have a mission here, and you're
Meet the
speaking about it very
Sagittarius.
freely. No, the host. I am
Meet
a
the
Sagittarius.
Sagittarius. Meet the Sagittarius, girl.
I think I'm okay with you calling me arrogant. It's okay to see it that way. But
I
I
didn't mean
believe
it. I didn't mean it
no,
wrongly, bro.
exactly. No, I know what you mean. Because like it can be, comes out like I'm like this past year, guys. I am finally just becoming more myself, and I continue to become more myself each day passes. I wouldn't be doing this a year ago. I was like so socially anxious. I was very negative on myself, and I understand like the confidence can come across as something different to people, and that's okay if everyone doesn't see it the way I see it. And I think that's why diversity and uniqueness is beneficial because if we all thought the same way, that's not good. That's not good.
But most of us think
Exactly,
the same
exactly. And
way.
Brady, it doesn't come off that way to me. Can I ask you a question real fast?
Yeah.
Okay, so how long have you been doing TikTok lives?
So consistently for the past like month or two, uh, I
Okay,
think I don't know,
okay,
but I've also done it in Mania last year for like a month. It's like in total, my
okay.
resume for TikTok is like 3 months.
Okay. So I've been doing it for like a year, maybe that. But when I first started, I had so many people ask me, why am I coming up here and doing these lives? And I had three reasons. One was for community. I wanted to find like minded individuals, also wanted to push past the barrier of the normal, quote unquote, superficial conversations that most humans have. I wanted to meet with other people who would push the barriers. I wanted to have controversial conversations in a non debating, insulting type of way. A little bit of discord is welcome at times, but I wanted to have that. Second was for education, not only for me to gain the education, but also share the education that I already had. The third was I have had, I don't even know how many existential crises in my life that I
Oh, yeah.
wish that someone was there to kind of support me and help me through that transition. That when I see people, especially on TikTok lives, that have their entire reality, their whole entire opinions, their beliefs, theology, philosophy, what it may be, just shattered, and they have no support system, I want to be able to be there to like be like, hey, if you need resources, if you need books, if you just want to talk about it, whatever the concept may be, the hot topics, religious, politics,
Hey, brother,
sexual,
I'm
things like
leaving,
that.
bro. I can't stand this bitch. I'm leaving.
Hey, Michael.
Oh,
Oh,
Michael, it's
deep
okay.
conversations bother you.
Oh,
Deep conversations bother him.
Okay. Hey, it's okay, guys.
Can I quote one of the shows I like to watch? It has to do with this. Let him be arrogant. Let him be arrogant, baby.
what's that from?
RuPaul's Drag Race.
I've never heard of that. RuPaul's Drag Race. Oh, yeah, I remember you talking
Yes,
about it now.
yes.
Never mind. I thought you said like drag. I thought I was thinking about like a race car, like drag race. Like
I know. Like, when I first learned of it, I thought that the name was like drag racing, like with the cars and stuff. I was not expecting a pageant like that.
right. Also, Nizzle, sorry about that. That's I,
Oh,
just
you
kind
don't have to. You don't
was
have to
words.
apologize. I'm very
Well,
used. It's okay. I'm used to getting insulted. It's okay.
It's
As an outspoken
interesting.
woman, I'm very used to
Deep
men being like,
thoughts.
I'm done with listening to a woman talk. They're gonna call me the B word. They're gonna call me. I'm used to it. Real quick though, for some
Well,
reason, when I
this-
came up,
yeah.
it like put the grid into like a 6 by or a 3 by 3. I don't like that.
I don't
Is
know
that just
what's
on
going on.
my side?
I think it's just on your side, unless here.
Okay, I'm gonna drop and then.
I'll expand
Oh.
you out, and then I'll expand me back. How's that?
Nope, it still went by the. It went back to the 3 by. I'll just drop and then come back in.
Okay.
You have a transformer here? Is that towards me? That's kind of funny. Someone asked, "Do you have a transformer here?"
You have a transformer. Nice.
So,
Oh, go ahead.
sorry. Well, mine's unrelated.
So I'm gonna bring it back to Nizzle. About the past thing with Michael, right? So it's interesting because like I was able to, we were able to like align and really get somewhere together, and like he seemed open minded, but then people do that, and I'm just like, what? And it's like we're trying to
It
figure
was
this
the
out
moment
together.
that it was the moment that a woman came in. You guys were on a great page. You were able to
Right.
get to a level
That
of like
is
where
so
you could have a conversation
weird.
with him. Because he first wanted to insult you, and you were like, "I'm not going to let you insult me." And
It's
you guys had a
okay.
good combo. But then
I
he
did.
came in
I
and he
didn't
was
take
like,
it as
"No."
that. I
That
don't
is
know
just
what
so weird.
I will think about it
That's
more.
misogyny, my friend. Please
Yeah.
say that's misogyny. That's patriarchy.
This is funny.
It's
'cause
weird to experience it in the wild.
I criticized
It
the
exists.
story of Adam and Eve on Facebook and saying, what if God told Eve that man's gonna disobey me, so he will disobey you too, and so Eve had extra knowledge, and something happened to the point where we're stuck in Adam's mind, and this is just what ifs, guys. I'm not saying this is the case, but then I started criticizing the patriarchy. I'm like, what is this even, guys? Like, I'm so confused. Well, what is going on here?
In nature, like with lion prides and hyena herds, I don't know the right word for that. So,
Matriarchal, though.
the females always do everything.
Yeah.
They run things.
Most animal like kingdoms are actually ran by the matriarch, like the women. They're matriarchal.
Well, it's interesting
Yeah.
because like even when it comes to human beings, I say this and I mean this. The women in my life that I've known know what the idea of God is more than men in my life. Not to say like there's no great men in my life, but it's the women in my life that know whatever that idea, that abstraction is more just by how they are. And I think we should give women a chance more, and that's I don't mind saying
That kind of reminds me. So, on the 16th, I can't remember what was this month, but my local county fair was going on, and I wanted to go so that I could watch my cousins show animals. And whenever I spent the weekend with my grandparents, and whenever I go spend the weekend with my grandparents, I have to go to church with them. Nizzle, if you don't know, I'm a Satanist, an atheistic Satanist.
I actually just read your bio, so I
Oh.
just found out about you. Thank you so much for telling me. I also sent you a follow. I hope that's okay.
That is okay, thank you. And I don't believe in Christianity, but I don't judge unless you're a certain kind of Christianity. And my grandma and my grandpa are two different Christians from the way they act. I could definitely tell that they are. And I went to the Sunday school with all the adults and stuff. It's older people. I was like the odd one out because I was the youngest person there. And they were talking. The subject was about giving into temptation, and it was an all right conversation. We got off topic a lot because people were making jokes, but it got to the point. I don't know how it got here. I don't remember. I kind of blacked out when this happened. But one of the guys, no, yeah, it was one of the guys. He said the F slur. And he was talking badly about gay people. And I just started blacking out, shutting down because, like,
That's when I go,
here we go.
like, I turn into what's Godzilla, where I like start flipping tables and I like go irate. I have literally been at I am ex-Mormon. My family is Mormon, and they're very, very, white tea, Christian, nationalist, racist, motherfucking. I mean, they're my family, so they exist, but zero
Yeah.
respect for them. But I've been at like an Easter dinner with my own family and hearing my nephew say, "I do not like BLK people." Substitute I do not like with the HAT word, and I instantly was like, the fuck. And I threw a fit, and I was like, I'm going. I'm getting in my car. I'm done. And that was a huge issue. But like, no, I don't tolerate that whatsoever when it comes to religious bigots.
Right.
Yeah, if I was in that space, I gather why you blacked out, but I would have been like, mm-mm.
I have
I'm
more
just
to
so
this too.
respectful.
I have more to this too.
Okay, keep
But
going.
to go off on a slight tangent because of what you said, what did you say? Oh yeah, the Easter thing. Sorry. Yeah. When it comes to my dad's side of the family, I love most of them. There are some exceptions. They're married into the family. Those are the exceptions. um, but sometimes there's one person, my grandma's sister, who will always bring politics into the conversation and like bring religion into it too, and it kind of ruins the vibe for everybody. And then, yeah, back to what I was saying though. Sorry, I went off on a tangent.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good.
After we left church, we went back to their house before going to the fair, and we were all sitting in the living room watching TV. And Grandpa turned to my grandma and asked what she thought of the lesson that day. And there was a slight pause, and then Grandma looked over at Grandpa and said, "I didn't like it." Now, she's more open-minded. She doesn't, I don't think she doesn't support the LGBT community, but she's not as harsh about it. But, like, I feel like maybe it was because of that, the guy saying the slurs, because he didn't just say the F slur, he said the T slur also. And, I feel like she didn't like the lesson because of that, and that kind of made me feel good in a way, because I don't always know how she feels about certain things, and I can't talk to her about certain things because of if I tell her, oh, I'm a Satanist, oh man, that's gonna not go well.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just gonna introduce Brooke. Guys, this Nizzle Priestley. This is Brooke. She's like one of the first people I talked to when I started my channel again.
Hello.
Um,
Hi.
Hi, Brooke. Nice
I
to meet
love, yeah, I love Brady's lives. I think these are the most valuable conversations I think that I've had on TikTok Live, whether I'm a participant or just a spectator. And I can already tell that this is going to be a really great discussion. Really open minded people, very articulate and intelligent. And yeah, I'm very, very excited to hear all of your perspectives as the conversation flows.
I kind of want to explain, because I've told you, I've explained my religion to you, or
yeah, explain it
I guess
again.
it's kind of lack thereof. Yeah,
Because I think someone was
Yeah.
questioning it in the comments.
yeah. I'm an atheistic Satanist. I don't believe in Satan as a person. It's more of a symbol, which it means going against the grain, going against authority, being yourself, loving yourself over everything else, loving nature. Just being yourself and not conforming, really. But yeah, and I'm working on one of those things. Not giving your opinion unless it's asked of you. I'm still working on that one.
Oh no, you're okay. It's good to hear from you. So I think when it comes to a lot of things, it's good to be aware because like there's always something to be worked on. I think so. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
It's not the name itself is misleading. It sounds worse than it actually is.
I would just add in that was one of kind of the hardest things for me to realize too, as I continue to have, intellectual, deep conversations without being insulted, without taking offense. And it actually came in. I'm a meditation teacher. That's one of my professions, and it is one of my trainings in a meditation training. And the teacher just answered it very simply to me, and she was like, "Just because it's true for you, does not make it truth." And that resonated so much on a cellular level that I was like, who am I to go and shove my opinions, shove my viewpoints down other people's throat in a very aggressive way, which I used to do. I no longer do that. Because, yeah, it's true for me. And it's like, it resonates in my soul, but I don't know their reality. I don't know their truth. And you can also reflect into like, Buddha and his quote of just because someone is not on your path doesn't mean that they are lost.
And that's just evidence of confirmation bias and limited perspective, That's not true data and like looking at true research and use cases, and that's not an intellectual approach. That's just anecdotal evidence, which doesn't go that far.
Exactly.
I was wanting to tell what's his name, the guy that left.
Michael.
I was wanting to tell him because like he thought that he was a bad person because of like, yeah.
I think about
he was
of that, Brady, by the way, because I do feminist lives. I'm a member of the 4B. I'm very outspoken about the 4B movement. I am a alt-right. So 4B started in South Korea. It's a feminist movement about feminine equality. It's do not talk to men, do not date men, do not marry men, and do not procreate with men. It has now turned into 7Bs. But yeah, so I'm an active member of that movement. So when I do my lives, I am now going on my 1 year of celibacy, my 1 year of no longer dating. Yeah, so that's what I normally do is call out men on that stuff.
Interesting.
I guess I can't do that since I'm romantically with a man.
I'm not really shocked. So sorry, Brooke. I'm not really shocked when a man is like, "Oh, this bitch is talking," and like, yeah, I get that 24/7.
It's not the 1950s anymore. They need to understand
they don't
that.
like an outspoken woman. They don't like a woman that knows who she is. They don't, they don't prefer that.
Just imagine if more women were like that. Like, what would the world would be like?
Men would grovel at their feet.
That's just interesting. So so you don't ever like ever want to date men in the future. You don't ever want to
No,
procreate. Okay, interesting. I never met
zero
someone like
percent.
that before that I know of. So that's interesting.
I
But you
have
have to keep in mind, I am 38. It's not that I'm a virgin. I have had schmecks before.
Right.
I have had partners. It's not that I haven't dabbled into it. I have enough field research out there that I realized that the specimen of, quote unquote, identifying as a man was not equal to bring me any sort of joy that I would want to intertwine my life with them. So
that's
I was
fair.
like, well, why not just remove myself from the equation then? Because they're just not bringing any sense of value into the world, in my opinion.
Like
I
all
love when
men.
women rage against that machine where they realize
Yes.
they have a choice in not centering males in their life.
Oh, the male-centered space
There's so
drives
much
me
power
nuts.
in it.
I know, but like the way that men get butthurt about it, it's like, wait, it's not male-centered here. It's like the world does not revolve around you, boo.
But you have
Why?
like
Oh,
for
part
me
of
at least, like you have to make it comical. You know, like and then
Why are
that's
you
where you
getting
find
so
like people like
emotional?
Brady. Like Brady has
Like that thing.
enough emotional intelligence and
Yeah.
understanding like he is a woman ally. You know, like he's like nodding
I
along as we're talking, like
Yeah.
he
hope
doesn't
all three of
experience
you
it, but he
will come to my
understands.
live. I
I
hope
feel
all
like I
three of
do
you at some
too.
point will come to my live and see how I run it. Trust me, it's very comical, very
I'd be
entertaining.
curious. I'd be
Trust me, I
curious.
would love that.
I
Yeah.
mean, I I don't present as a man yet, but because I identify as a man, but I was born a girl, I know a lot of girl experiences, so I know I can kind of feel empathy, if that makes sense.
For sure.
What was I saying? Oh yeah,
Like our best, like some of us, like feminists, like misogynist, like misandrist type individuals. Our best allies are trans women, or sorry, trans men, women that transition into being a man because they
and
understand
yeah,
to eventually, have had to have that experience and then they transition. They're some of our best allies.
yes, and it's sad that a lot of times, well, I feel that when it comes to trans lives matter or trans rights, trans men or trans mask people are a lot of times left out of that equation.
I would 100% agree. 100%.
That before I lose this train of thought, because that'll happen easily. Um, that guy that left, he was talking about how he thought that he was a bad person because technology never works around him. I mean, I kind of felt like I have a lot. I kind of feel like I have some bad luck, but now I have a good luck charm that I got from a pride festival from the Satanic Temple. It's a pentacle necklace. A pentacle is good energy, a pentagram is bad. And I feel like it has definitely helped.
Nice. What's that mean, pentacle? Like, what is that?
It's like what the right side up star is. The pentagram is the upside down.
I'll look it up. Pentacle. Pentacle.
CLE.
Pensacola.
Yes.
Pensacola is a nice place to go, though. Pentacol. No, that's not right.
No, PENTACLE.
Yeah, like pentacle.
Oh, pentacle. Oh yeah, okay, I see. It's like, oh, okay, yeah. I see. I know that's what.
I always point up, like I make a triangle, a right side up triangle with my two index fingers for pentacle, and then turn it upside down for pentagram, which is kind of a way to show which one's which.
Nice. So,
Also, I had my orthodontist appointment today. Like
nice,
I was,
okay.
yeah. My teeth hurt, so.
What did you get done on your teeth?
Well, I have braces, so I got some adjustments.
Oh, okay. It's like they tightened it up.
A little bit, and not all of them, just two.
remember having a retainer, and maybe that's why I talk like this. But like I had a retainer, and like there's like a little key put like in the top of it that like you turn it like halfway, and it just like widens out my teeth, and that hurt, man. That just hurt. I remember that as a kid.
I've
And
never had to have that, but I'll probably have to wear one when I'm done with braces. Like at night, I'll probably have to wear one. And then also, I had to take my. Sorry.
No, you're okay. You're okay.
And today, I unfortunately had to take my laptop into Best Buy because it has been blue screening like crazy for like over a month. It's been lagging, it's been overheating, it's been dying quickly, flickering, and I'm worried. And it's 2 years old. The thing is 2 years old.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you can get that fixed. So.
Yeah, I have to wait like 24 to 48 hours to see.
Yo, host, I have a question for you.
Yes, I was gonna ask you a question, but you can go ahead.
Oh, you're next.
Okay.
What's been on your mind lately?
Guys, you don't want to hear it. You don't want to hear it.
No, we do. Obviously, that's why I asked.
It's only fair.
What's up?
That's
What's
actually
up?
great. He deserves to be asked this question.
A woman.
What's been on your mind?
A woman?
Yes.
Brady.
We'll keep it at. We'll keep it at that.
You dog.
It's complicated.
Okay, well, the wording is obvious, but okay.
Well, there's been a lot of things on my mind, and she comes up to be one of the things that is constantly on my mind since January 3rd of 2025, every single day. And this person, she externalizes her voice, and like she talks to the trees and the birds and to Mr. Shark, and which is a stuffed animal. And she did that around me on the phone, and I thought it was like the most adorable thing. And when I went homeless last year, I was going to a park a lot.
Wedding?
And
When's the wedding, guys? Brooke and Brady,
no.
when's the wedding?
So no. It's no. Sorry. I admire this person, but it's complicated. But so I went to a park a lot, and I started to just externalize my voice and just like talk to like anything, right? Like in my own way though, and it really helped me just like be more aware and conscious of my own thoughts, because like I was very negative, and if I said a negative thing out loud, I'd be like, no wait, Brady, no, that's and try to like turn it around and to be more aware and thinking and being more kind to myself, right? So like this is not how she does it, but like I took something from her, and like she's a part of me now, and like she's like my voice of reason in a sense. And I know it's probably sad to say,
She's a part of me now. Oh,
she's integrated into how I think and operate. It's like
incredible.
I can't get her out of my head, and it's not. I can't forget her, but she's never going away, and she's a part of me because she showed her mind to me, and I showed my mind to her, and we are. It's guys. It was an emotional affair, but we both didn't intend for this to happen. It was.
That makes it even better.
No, it was. We both didn't intend for this to happen, and it happened, and I kept calling it out, and I kept calling it out, and I kept calling it out and being the asshole, and.
Can I ask why are you saying that in a way that there's like negative context
Like
to it?
past tense. You're saying it in past tense too.
But I'm saying too, like you're calling it out that you guys were so intertwined. Why is that seemingly a bad thing?
Well, so I'm sorry. I don't mind speaking the story out loud because I think it's important maybe to help people understand, maybe perhaps just how my mind works, but the situation, of course. So it's sad, and I don't even know. She's very hard on herself, and she typically fixes things on her own without telling people, and wasn't very communicative. She didn't really talk her problems out to people, and she would just figure it out on her own. But like more into our relationship as friends, she became more open and more vulnerable, and like it was a beautiful thing, just like seeing her like trust again, because she's been hurt in her past, where her parents were emotionally neglectful. And she didn't open up about that, but I can conclude some stuff and some stuff that she shared, and kind of fit pieces together, but I don't know the whole story, right? But her husband went on a camping trip, and we talked for 36 hours on the phone. We stayed like no one went. We both didn't want to get off the phone, and
Hold on. I really love that you're opening up and sharing this with us, and I do want to remind you just take deep breaths. Did you say that her husband?
yeah, it's an emotional. I said it was an emotional affair.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay, so she
Right.
was married.
She's been
Okay,
married for 6 years, or
continue.
since when I knew her, and so
Continue
she
on.
was like
I just wanted to make
humming.
that point clear.
She was humming and saying my name, and then I would hum back and say her name, and no one wanted to get off the line. So I literally did not fall asleep that whole night, and I couldn't fall asleep. I'm like, this is like the first time I ever felt so comfortable and safe, and it was a beautiful thing, but also I knew it was like not right. I'm like, what would her husband think about this, right? And that was in the back of my mind, and she she shared with me things she never shared with anyone, saying, I I wish I could stare into someone's eyes without them feeling uncomfortable. And this makes me just feel sad. And like I feel sad that she hasn't been able to communicate her needs in a way where she hasn't been able to stare into her husband's eyes for 6 fucking years. And I didn't know what to say to her. And I was like, I can't call her eyes beautiful. And she shared a picture of her eyes with me right after that. And I'm like, what is going on? What is like, I what is going on? And the next day, I had to be an asshole. I'm like, well, Bernie, sorry, shit. Well, Bernie, we slept together, just being like that. And she was gonna go to a movie with her mother-in-law, and she shared when she got back, like she's like the only thing I could think about was you, and I just wanted to like hang out with you, and I'm like, why? And I had to call it out. I'm like, Bernie, this is an emotional affair. And she didn't know what to do about that. And she's like, okay, so we should probably stop talking. I'm like, yes. 2 days later, she texts me and says, Brady, how can I be happy if you're not happy? I'm like, no. So like, it's hard. I'm, I don't, it's like a woman hasn't given her mind like this to me. Like a woman hasn't been in my life like this to me, and I
I
can't just let her
know. Hold on.
go.
I know in
And
your opinion, you're like, yeah, it's hard because she's already in a relationship and whatnot. You don't do that. You don't dabble with people that are already quote unquote legally in a relationship. Well, actually, if she is actually in law married to someone, there's laws there, my guy. There are governmental laws put into place. You just don't even dabble in that because
right,
people are going to have emotional fantasies and emotional connections, and they're going to do that. Don't exhaust yourself with that. The moment that you knew, and I'm not trying to be offensive or anything or judgmental by any means, but the moment that you knew that she was in a relationship, aka married, you should have ended that whole entire conversation right then
yeah,
and there.
I should have, but I didn't know, and I wasn't intending for this to happen, and it just did. And like things unfolded where we both leaned in. Like I would lean in, and she would lean in, and things just happened. And I understand. I appreciate you saying that too, because I know it's not right, and that's why I always called it out for what it was. And
Because again,
it's just
exactly, like
unfortunate.
if she was not getting physical touch from her husband, as you said, for 6 years, if
Well, I
she
don't know
was not
about
being
that.
or being able to look into his eyes and connect with him
Right.
for 6 years, things like that. I'm like, she should, divorce him and move on. And but then like what she's doing is going online and meeting someone that is genuine and authentic, such as yourself, and is like, oh, he sees me, he gets me, and I'm gonna find this like little sliver of nothing that I'm getting from my husband and take advantage of you. And you do realize, no offense, but you are the pawn in this.
Yes, there's a lot of push and pull. There's a lot of should come back.
Referring to him as
I'm
a
gonna reach
pawn,
out.
though, can I just respectfully push back referring to Brady as a pawn? Like, I feel like it's deeper than that. Pawn is like being used, but it seems like they have a deeper
No,
connection.
no, definitely a pawn.
I don't think we have enough context about her and their relationship to be able to determine that, though, right?
She's married. The depth of the conversation should end there.
I feel like humans are far more complex than that, though. Like marriage is a construct. We don't know
Oh, so
what the
like
marriage
morals
looks
don't matter
like.
to you?
Oh no, they absolutely do. They absolutely do.
Yeah, so
I
if you
myself,
are committed, quote unquote, in a relationship or you're married, legally bound to someone, then you should morally and ethically uphold those standards. But if you don't want to be in that relationship or in that marriage, there are steps that you can take to terminate said marriage or relationship.
absolutely, but we don't know the context. Like perhaps she's employed and relying on her husband. I have a friend going through something where she has an
So then
autoimmune disease.
you want this woman to now like leech off of Brady? You want this lady that is unemployed, doesn't need the resources of his husband to provide for her, to leave him and like go to Brady and be like, now Brady, you have to support me?
That, I mean,
Uh-uh.
that could very well be part of it, but again, I don't think we have enough context to the situation, nor do I think we deserve it, Brady, enough context to the situation to draw these kinds of conclusions.
Right.
I agree.
It gets a bit, you know, I there's things I can continue going into, because I don't. It's fair what both of you are saying, right? I understand where both of you are coming from. It's just it gets a bit messy, and it's just sad. At the end of the day, I'm just sad, and I wish I could do more, but I can't. And I understand what the situation is to not continue with it, and it's grief, and but like, God damn it, TikTok. Sorry, one second. Like it ended so abruptly, and there's a lot of stuff that goes into this, right? But it ended so abruptly because I made it to be that way, and it's just a whole nother story, right? But it's I'm grieving in a sense, but she gave me like her mind, and so I use that as my voice of reason, and that's kind of oh no, did Nizzle Nizzle left?
Oh,
Maybe.
Nizzle left.
Um,
I'm sorry
I
if I push
use
back too hard.
no, you're fine.
I
This
feel
is
like it was civil.
I thought
I thought so.
I don't know. She left yesterday too when a guy was talking about Trump. Um, so I don't
That's
know.
understandable.
But
But
that
I was
confuses me because she seems to be someone who's open to like civil discourse.
Well, it's interesting. I can make
yeah.
conclusions, but I think
Uh,
I I don't know.
I
I'm against it. I can't
We
get
won't make
into
conclusions that we can't make with ample evidence.
right.
yeah.
And I don't know. Like, do you mean with the story I shared or with Nizzle leaving?
That, but I mean both. Both are
Right.
true. Both think that was the
Right.
point I was trying to make, Brady. Like, I think that
Uh,
she, understandably so, had a moral compass where it's like she was married. You were talking to a married woman, but there's so much
um
complexity in that, and we as humans are so complex. And there's
Right.
so much nuance to every individual situation where, like,
Yes.
yes, you can say, like, there was wrong in this person's actions and this person's actions, but if you hear the entire story and the accounts from everyone, you can also probably reason it too. And my point was that we don't have all sides of the story. So I didn't think
Exactly.
that it was right that she was kind of condemning the situation.
It's okay. Yeah, I get where you're coming from. It's like,
um
I don't even have the full story with her husband, right? Like I can conclude that they're not compatible based on things that she's told me and how she felt. Like she said she doesn't feel appreciated, and she had to install a bathroom vent that is 14 feet up from her house, and she shared that her greatest fear is heights, and she said that no one else would do it. And then she's like, I wish I could call you when I was up there. I'm like, why? But
um
it's just like you get I put these pieces together and I say I see there's something not working out here for a person I care deeply for because they showed care for me and it's complicated, it's messy. I don't even know, her husband's probably trying his best with things. I know Bernie has her own flaws too, but like everyone does, and it's just messy. And that's been on my mind, but like there's been so many other things on my mind, but I appreciate you guys just listening to me talk about this.
could I
Absolutely. You deserve a
add
sounding board.
yeah. Could I add that I am into true crime. I don't like learning about this stuff, but I find it fascinating. It's not like something I fall asleep to or anything like that. That'll give me nightmares. But a lot of times, like this happened recently. Like this happened super recently. Um, I'll get to that in a second. But when women try to divorce their husbands, the husbands will unalive them.
Whoa.
Well, I think
Wait.
that kind of adds to my point is that we don't know, we don't have all the
Right.
context for what she was going through, what Brady was going through, what her husband was going through. Like, this was like Brady gave like a 2-minute account of his perspective, summarizing,
Not going
his
into
experience.
detail. He does because I mean, yeah, yeah.
I'm
In that
thinking right
one,
now.
oh,
Oh, go ahead.
in that one case that I was talking about, the one that happened recently, a woman. So there's a trend on TikToks about like me sitting down for the Netflix documentary about so and so event or whatever. And there was a woman who was going to divorce her husband because the husband was having an affair with a 15-year-old. And she participated in the trend. And shortly after making the video, her husband unalived her because she wanted to divorce him.
That's so weird. Sorry, I don't know if weird is like the right way to say it, but
Vile.
sad.
I'd say it's vile.
Hard to understand. Difficult to understand that perspective,
Yeah.
for sure.
Definitely. Yeah.
That reminds me of the case of that guy in Colorado who unalived his wife and his 2 young daughters because he didn't
Chris
want that
Watts.
life anymore. Yes, he didn't want that life anymore.
Yeah, I watched a documentary on it.
I've watched several.
Oh my god.
Which, like, in a way, I can understand why you like watching true crime. I don't watch a ton of it because I know, like, it's so tossed around, but I consider myself an extreme empath. And watching that stuff because I can't relate is just devastating to me. Like, after I watched that documentary, I, like, was in a little bit of a depressive state, which I'm diagnosed, so, that just kind of happens. But it took me down because I just can't comprehend how someone
And
would
they
see
had
that's
she
the
had
only
a third
solution.
on the way.
Yeah, she was far along too.
Yeah. An interesting thing, a thing that I found interesting about that documentary is when the cop was talking to Chris in, I think, the next door neighbor's house.
Yeah,
And the TV turned on and it was an American Horror Story commercial, but it showed a fetus.
Eerie.
It felt like it was the wife trying to communicate.
That, yeah. And you saw him start to sweat immediately. Brady,
And he looked at the TV, he's like, oh god.
To go?
No, well, sorry, I'm just like in my head because, like, sorry.
Do you want to talk it out?
Well, do you think it's I'm just I don't think it's wrong, but like, what do you guys think? Is it so strange to be this vulnerable to people? Do you think that's
No.
No, I think it's strange when people aren't vulnerable.
Yes.
This thing is hard, and we need to talk about it.
And this is like where my mind goes. It's like it doesn't feel like when I say the story out loud again, it doesn't really help me at all. It's just,
Chance, that's so true.
It's just more
if you're
sad.
looking at the chat, Brady, my friend Chance is here. He said it's powerful when you're vulnerable.
It's like, is too much vulnerable.
Bottling things up is not good. Bottling things up is never a good idea. I know from experience.
Like,
it's unnatural. It's unnatural. The body keeps score. You're holding that in your body, those emotions.
Yeah.
Your friend Brooke said, no, never mind, that was someone else. Cindy Lou Who for Texas said, holding emotions in is abusive to men. I mean, it's very harmful. Like a lot of times, especially with men, because of the system men created, they will hold back their own emotions until the point where they do something drastic and harmful.
And that's a societal thing, that men aren't meant to express their emotions, but I find so much strength in any human expressing their emotions. So, Brady, what is it that you want to express? What are
Well,
you comfortable with expressing?
I'm just spitballing and kind of brainstorming out loud, and I think that's vulnerable, right? Just being able to say whatever is on my mind to get to the next point about what I'm trying to say, and I think,
And to
you
understand
know,
that there's no judgment on the other side.
yeah, and I appreciate
Can I
that.
just say, it takes a lot of balls for a man to be vulnerable. A strong man shows vulnerability.
I appreciate that. It's something I'm trying to normalize, but I think forcing it isn't good, and I'm being very vague here on purpose, but like, I don't know where I'm getting at. I know where I'm getting at with it. I just hesitate to say it.
You can take time to process on how you want to articulate it. You can take a beat.
It's just a joke. It's so absurd. Don't you ever just wonder and think that life is just absurd?
All the
And
time.
you just gotta, you can take it in a couple different ways, and the way I view it, it's like a melancholic, beautiful, funny joke. It's just, that's what it is.
It doesn't melancholy mean a sense of sadness with no identified reason,
Let me look it up, the definition.
or something along those lines. I just know that was my favorite word in intermediate school.
A deep, quiet, and long-lasting state of sadness, often mixed with thoughtful reflection or a calm sense of longing. So, perhaps that's what I meant. But it came out
Okay.
wrong, so why not go for it?
What brings me
Just-
comfort is that how lucky are we to experience such a range of emotions, for us to have this capability to reach such depths of melancholy and then such elation of love and acceptance and joy and peace, you know?
Yeah, I like that.
Tell me about it. I'm autistic.
Hey. To be honest, I think we're all on a spectrum. It's a spectrum for a reason. We all have a spot somewhere.
I think you're right.
Yeah. One more thing before I have to go. Because yes, I have to go. Yeah, being vulnerable towards other people is risky. Like, even with some of the closest people some of the people you're closest to, it's not the greatest to be completely vulnerable. But like with me, I grew up in an abusive household. I learned to express how I feel in writing, like, because I make stories, and what the characters experienced is what I experienced, and it really still does, even though I'm not in that situation anymore. It still does help.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But like doing something you like, or going to a rage room or something, doing like venting, doing something productive, petting an animal. I don't know.
Connecting with the earth.
Yes. But never punch a
Drinking
wall.
water because water is medicine.
Water is medicine.
never
yes.
But never punch a wall, and you want to know why? I was taught this when I was I was admitted into a residential facility. You want to know why you never punch the wall? The wall always wins.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Well, now I have to go to bed.
Okay, Priestley. Appreciate you coming up again. Good talking with you
Wow.
and hanging out.
Thank you for having me, and nice meeting you, Brooke.
Nice meeting you too.
Good night.
Good night.
Isn't this such an interesting thing? it's like I bring people up that I've talked to in the past, and like there's like a sense of community already in that in that. So,
Brady, I have
um,
to say I'm so proud of you because last time I was in your live, you would do like one person at a time. You had like three or four people in here at
I
once.
know. I remember telling you, like, when it comes to group
You're doing
conversations, and
the
even
damn
still,
thing.
well, I'm doing the damn thing, but like, I still struggle with group conversations sometimes, and I tend to be more of a listener in those moments. Like, you can tell when the three of you were up, like, I was more so listening. Um,
Hmm.
but when it comes one on one with people, like, I'm more personable. Like, I prefer one on ones, because we can get to a deeper and deeper topic. I think sometimes when it comes to a group, like, sometimes it becomes too broad, or it's like we don't get to like the root of it all sometimes. And but like
That's
sometimes we
true.
do, sometimes, like, and it's been good because I think um at times there's been a really beautiful thing. I don't know if you were I don't think you were part of it, but Priestley was, and there's two other theists, and agnostic, and me, and like they were all supporting each other. And like there was a guy that was really negative on himself, and he was and not, but another guy was like being supportive and being like, don't think that way, like you're amazing, and so saying stuff in their own ways, right? Something like that. And it
Hmm.
was a really beautiful thing, right? And so I've been more open and receptive to getting people on here that have been on here before to just speak their mind, and I think it's been a good thing for the most part. But I do still prefer one-on-ones.
No, I totally get that. And I think, like, previously in your lives when I was in the chat and you were having one on ones, people would, obviously ask, Can you let me up? Can you let me up? And I would always explain, he prefers to really invest his time and attention on one person at a time. And that's very understandable. And I can see how it could be difficult having multiple people, especially because they're interjecting. People want to get their thoughts out. Um, and yeah, it can be challenging, but they also, it's like catch 22. It depends on the crew that you got. It could
Right.
be a great conversation with the group, or, it could kind of hinder the conversation, but it's great that you are attempting it.
I appreciate that.
That's
Thank you so
awesome.
much. Appreciate you. Have
Yeah.
you been going on live too and doing stuff? Like, how's that been going?
Yeah, here and there. I too have kind of like a steady crew, but it hasn't followed my intention, which is similar to yours, like, like this is a safe space to share what's going on. It's turned into hangouts, which
Yeah.
I think is also valuable because, to your
Right.
point earlier, is that people are craving community, and people that are like-minded and are understanding that they don't always have within their, close proximity. So if
Hmm.
I can provide that, virtually, I'm more than happy to do that. And we'll
Yeah.
just this is something I do in real life with my friends when we hang out, and I kind of started doing this within my lives, is that we do like a rotation of songs that we'll just like, what song do you want to listen to? And we'll have that in the background, and we'll listen to the song, and we'll sing, and we'll chat.
All right.
It's very
That's
uplifting.
awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
That's so great to hear. Like, hangouts are good. Like, they do happen on this live too sometimes. Um, but like I think that's a good thing. Like, keeping it like broad and open, where like what's around your mind lately. Like, people can talk about whatever they need to. I think holding a
Yeah.
space for people to just like vent or rant or just talk about whatever they need, and just have someone like hear that, I think is important. But also like the deeper questions, I think are important as well, right? And like figuring out what the frick we're doing on this earth together, and
Yeah,
kind of
what the heck is this? We're on a
right.
floating rock. We just appeared here. What the heck are we supposed to do with that?
Right. And it's been good, and I see the more I think, the more I do this, and the more consistent I become, it'd be interesting to start like a Discord server for like to build the community. um
Oh, yeah.
and I have like steps in mind to like,
What's your like blueprint right now?
well, it's very, I don't have all the answers, right? But I think if we build enough community about with like-minded people from different backgrounds and understandings of life, like, we can start trends, and that can go in any kind of way it needs to, right? To get more outreach, and people doing their own thing in their own ways, like what you're doing with people, right? And you're getting people to talk about whatever they need to talk about, and I think that's a beautiful thing. And but like we start trends and do something that gets more people involved, and then there's like a movement, right, where we make change outside of TikTok, like
Mm-hmm.
in the real world, right? And I think the more we have the model these healthy dialogues, I hope other people can do that too, right? And I see that with you,
Yes.
and I think it's a fantastic thing, right? And it's it's we have to be patient, and I'm not trying to rush this, but I believe something great can happen from just having talks like this, right?
You had mentioned that earlier. I wasn't up in the box yet. I think it was when you were talking with Michael with similar sentiments. And when you had said we have to be patient, I had commented in the chat. I love that you said that. I think it's such an important reminder is that especially now where our attention spans and investment in things have degraded from probably 2 minutes to 40 seconds, we expect instant gratification, instant results. But
Right.
this is something that it's so precious that we really do have to take our time to curate and mold in a very intentional way.
Yes, we have to be strategic. I was going to say careful, but yes,
Yes,
careful, but strategic with
strategic.
how we progress. I was talking with Nizzle yesterday, and I was saying how um, there's a 80-year-old man child that can learn consent still, and I believe that. And I say that in a fun, joking way. But if I ever talked with this man, I'd treat him like a human being because that's what it
Mm-hmm.
comes down to. I think we ought to see people as humans, to progress
Yeah.
as humans, and Nizzle didn't get that, which is okay. Um, and I wanted to talk with her more about that, just to bring up this idea or this person. Like, have you ever heard of the man named Daryl Davis?
I haven't. Please inform.
Yes, he's a black pianist, so he plays piano incredibly well, and he deconverted Ku Klux Klan members. And when they deconverted, they gave Daryl their robes, and like this is like a testament to being like how we can interact with people who have a completely opposite um, idea of what is reality or what is good and wrong or whatever. It's seeing people as humans. No one's above, no one's below. We all walk the same earth. But this man Daryl didn't have to do this, but he fearlessly
Mm-mm.
went in and saw people as humans and were able to connect with them and help change their mind. And this is how we do it. It people already know this. It's making it more accessible to how we can approach this. And I would ask
Yes.
you this question, like, if you could, um, in your own way, like, how do you envision harmony?
Ooh, I'm going to take a second to process the question and articulate an answer. I might have to workshop it as I chat. So I'm just going to like word vomit, like speak it out
I love it. That's great.
and and iterate it as I go. But immediately what comes to mind is like letting people be and understanding that not first starting with the basic understanding that we all have different perspectives. We all have different upbringings. We all live in different times. We all live in different places, which is a beautiful thing. We need to recognize that that is a strength of human existence. And that's something that we can use to our advantage. And that just because something's different doesn't mean it's wrong. Um, I think having that basic understanding. And so harmony, I believe, would be, I guess, a sense of holding space and seeking understanding for those that are different from ourselves. You know what I mean? So, like, if you have a different perspective, just communication, talk it out. You know, why do you think the way that you do? Here's why I think the way that I do, and let's find the common ground in a respectful, kind way so that we can maybe not agree with each other but understand each other. And I think everything needs to be rooted in respect and kindness and openness to one another.
You said you were gonna have a hard time articulating it, but you did an amazing job, and
Oh, thank you.
I love your vision because you see it, you understand. We all are unique and beautiful in our own ways, and we should respect that. Like we're not trying to meld everyone into one way of thinking. Um, there's a standard that we can hold people to, right? For things that uh, flourish us to evolve as a human species, like the human species, right? But
Mm-hmm.
respecting that people have different ways of viewing the world is critical, and you see that in your vision, which I think is amazing.
Yeah. And I think everything just comes back to a lot of things are fear based. And
Yes.
I think a lot of people are, because I don't understand this, because this is so different from me, I'm fearful of it. So therefore, I'm judgmental
Yes.
and it's you other things, the whole othering aspect. Whereas if it's, my personal approach is that if I feel so different from that, it makes me want to understand it that much more. You know what
I
I
love that.
mean?
I love that. I love that. You get it. You freaking get it. No, and I think it's an amazing thing. I really do. Like how you think I think is beautiful, and I mean that in not a weird way, right? But like it is how we ought to be, right? Like we can still be unique and differently with that mindset, like having that understanding of what that means to be open and to be curious and understanding to people who are different. And
Mhm.
it, yeah, that's great. So I love it. I almost imagine like we understand what people want without even speaking words. Like we can like read someone, like it's almost like telepathy in a sense, but not really telepathy. Like we can pick up on cues or actions or facial expressions and know what
Mhm.
and what not. And um yeah.
Well, I think also too, like you can, and I can be completely wrong in this, but I was watching today, the 80-year-old orange man, um, announcing that he was running for 2028, but
Oh man.
also, yeah, uh, also he was dogging this fantastic, and I don't know her name off the top of my head, but fantastic journalist that asked him very straightforward questions, and he doesn't like the questions, and then results to criticizing her. And I think to myself as I'm watching that, I'm like, what's causing you to do that? Like what? Just kind not psychoanalyzing, but it's where are the deficits in your life where you feel like you have to lash out in that way,
Do you
and
think
just trying to understand the mental processes there, because that's not, I don't want to say normal behavior because I really don't believe in the word normal, but
right?
obvious that there's something deeper going on there, that it's not about her.
Yeah. Do you think
You
it's
know what I mean?
insecurity?
I think it's insecurity. I think it's at the same time, which is such kind of contradictory, an inflated ego.
Yeah.
I think, have you done like a lot of like reading about ego and how,
I would love to learn more. I don't think I have a well, I have to understand kind of, but like I'd love to hear it from you.
oh, I won't speak on it uh as well as I would like to, but I think the the ego, oof. Give me a second.
You're okay? Yeah. At this point, we're just vulnerably letting our minds go. So whatever you say is going to be is going to make sense because I think you're I feel comfortable enough to just say whatever is on my mind, right? And I think what you're going to say is going to be fine. But take your time.
Well, that little interaction, Brady, is like what I'm talking about. Like people should be able to interact like this normally. Like that's my hope for the world.
Yeah,
Where if someone's like, I need a second, and you're like, yeah, let me give you space. Take your time. It'll be cool. Like, why isn't that the normalcy? That's what trips me up, to be honest.
we're modeling
Why
it for
isn't that
people
the
though.
normalcy?
9 people know what this is like now. 10 people know what this is like.
Yeah. Okay, so colored glass. Oh, I want to see. Ego is just awareness of self. There's positive love and negative use of love. Hate is just a deep love. Oh, colored glass. Can you expand on that? Because I feel like that's going to help me get to how I want to articulate my thoughts.
I'm looking it up. So the term ego primarily refers to the conscious self, the part of the mind that meditates between conscious desires, reality, and moral standards. Though it is also widely used in everyday speech to mean self-esteem or conceit. Do you mean egotistical or is egotistical
No,
something different?
ego. Ego. And this is kind of, it goes back to when Michael was in here, where I was talking about his consciousness. I said when he left, or when he said that rude comment, to what was her name?
Nizzle.
Nizzle. Nizzle. Um, he said that rude comment to Nizzle. I was just, my reaction was, he's developing his consciousness. Like he's building it up. As I've told you before, I feel like Earth is a school, and we're here to learn. So hopefully, he'll recognize that behavior and be better. Um, but yeah, I think it just ego comes down to your level of consciousness. So it's the, as you said, thank you so much, Colored Glass, the awareness of self and how you see yourself in the world and being able to detach yourself or detach, it sounds so strange, to detach yourself from yourself. Do you know what I'm trying to say
Isn't that
there?
interesting? Yeah, it's like in my own way of like coming to understand of like my journey, like who I am. Like it's almost about like letting go of control to
Yes.
where in my mind other forces are guiding me to be Brady, and I'm learning how to be Brady more and more with this new awareness.
Yes. But you're also not attached to Brady at the same time.
What's that even mean? Being Brady, is it a singular thing or is it multiple things?
That
Right,
this
right.
is the conversation, right?
Exactly. And
What
I
does
think
that
it's
mean?
and I think it comes down to like
I believe
consciousness.
it's
Like
multiple, personally.
same. Like we have multiple desires like competing to 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 be. Like the words that I'm finding right now are getting the attention compared to other words, and that's a very micro
Hmm.
way of looking at it. But even what am I doing with my hands to a point where like am I in control of that to the point where of course subconsciously like my hands are communicating as well, but
Hmm.
it's like what inside of us is competing to be let out, and I think there's many things that can be, and I think it's the more conscious and aware of what we're doing so we can steer the ship essentially to be better and not repeat mistakes like
Yes.
ever again.
Yes. And I think something else that's important to take into account when we talk about multiple perceptions is that not only the perception of ourself, but outside perceptions. What's the perception of the people that I work with of me?
Yes,
What's the
yes,
perception of the woman at the checkout line when I got my groceries of me?
yes.
Like there's different versions of ourselves. And you know what trips me up? Not trips me up, but I think is so interesting to think about is that you are every version of yourself. Like you are still 5-year-old Brady.
Right.
You are still 15-year-old Brady. You are still 25-year-old Brady. Like all of those versions of yourself still exist right now. They've just like compartmentalized. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I love this. I love where your brain's going with this.
You have some people that were requesting to come up if you want.
Oh yeah. Let's see who we got. Who's requesting? Janae in colored glass. we'll accept them. I have friends we've talked to in the past. We'll get you guys up here soon, but I don't want to get too many people up at once.
Yeah. And you're still asking ages, right?
Yeah. Hello, people. How's it going? Jenna, and we got colored glass. How you guys doing?
Jenny.
It's
Awesome. Everyone
a.
has their
I'm not gonna
faces.
lie.
It's good seeing faces.
It is good
It's
seeing
a.
faces.
It's a nickname. It's really just Jenny, but like
I
I can't
cannot
escape
say
the
it like Forrest Gump, though.
Well, then you're gonna love this because I've perfected it due to the many years that many men named Forrest seem to think we have a destined connection, and we don't. So I always tell them when they approach me like that, I'm like, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna
gonna-
get.
But you do it like a British man, Jenny.
And I'm like, but you ain't gonna get me, sir. I do know what love is. I just don't want it.
Why do you sound like you're from the south of London doing Forrest Gump?
Honestly, I won't lie. Like, I'm very blunt and like direct with people. I love these kinds of open conversations and dialogues. I do have autism and I do have what's called like twice exceptional giftedness. So I have something called hypersystemizing where I'm like a bottom down, like bottom up processor instead of a top down. So I see things literally very differently from my peers, and I always thought I was like the problem, right? And then I realized as a child that the adults were not adults, they were teenagers. Then when I was a teenager, I realized that the adults were still teenagers. And
It's
then
a
when
flip, isn't it?
I think it's
yes.
everywhere, every all at once.
Say it again.
Everywhere, everything all at once.
Yes.
You're gonna find like a 60-year-old who's a 10-year-old, but vice versa.
Yep.
Well, I've always felt the same, and like people are like, "That's not a you can't say that," and I'm like, I wish that you would stop limiting like my personal beliefs because I'm not
Yep.
limiting yours. So
Yep.
like the way that I personally feel is like when I was born into this world, I was born exactly the way that I was meant to be,
100%.
and I feel like I was brought into this world with light and love and everything that I could ever possibly need within myself, despite any circumstance that I was ever going to face. Does
And
that make
don't
sense?
put me into
Yes.
and don't put me into the box that you expect me to be in.
Yes.
Yes.
You guys get it. It's like, in a sense, we have to like kind of untrain what other people tell us, and this is why I think it's okay or great to be agnostic to almost everything you possibly can to like know what is true for yourself, and to get back to that place where you were like who you needed to be when you first were born, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Well and I also
For
think
me,
sorry.
it's like remembrance. Does that make sense? Like, I know that sounds nuts, but like I have been so in tune with myself since childhood, and I've really like people really tried to condition me and like train me, and it never worked, and they would label me as like manipulative, rebellious, like not wanting to do things just because. But the truth was that I had autonomy, and I knew I had autonomy, and I was expressing myself in a logical, coherent way to adults, and that terrified them. It's a power struggle.
Colored glass, it seemed like you had something to contribute.
I was gonna say we can predict the future all we want, but we're unraveling time as we're experiencing. So when he says agnostic point of view, it's literally because we don't know until we know.
Yep.
Yes, you get it. You guys get it. This is I love this. You guys are great. You guys are great.
So, what is your? I'm curious because like I get a lot of grief for this opinion, but I feel it like in my bones, if that makes sense. So like I'm still gonna express it. Since I was 16 years old, I have been convinced that the fourth state of matter is plasma and that it is consciousness. And my reason for this is that 99.9% of everything in our universe is made up of plasma. And so I genuinely believe that our energy field that we emit, which is real, is consciousness in plasma form that we cannot visualize all of the time. And that is why energy is so important and why it affects people even when you just walk into a room.
Jenny,
That's
have
what
you read the book Energy Codes?
Say that one more time.
Have you read the book Energy Codes?
No.
It speaks so much to what you're saying right now. Like, I highly recommend it. I can't think of the author off the top of my head, but Energy Codes and like how energy influences so much of our existence.
Well, in nature too. Like
Yes, yeah.
I was listening to you guys talking earlier, and like something that I wanted to like kind of touch on or ask about was when you were talking about like internalization and like externalization, right? Like when you were like, what is the lady at the supermarket thinking about me, and those kinds of things. I experienced something kind of like it's like metacognition, if that makes sense. So like I replay
Yeah.
things later to think about them, and I question everything. I'm like, was that person okay? Did I miss something? Like, could I have done something better? Could I have been kinder? Like what can I do to like keep giving and not expecting? Because like I think that that's what humanity is really about, and I think that that's also what our consciousness is supposed to be about. But I think that because we are literally born into a system that we did not consent to, that our agency is almost immediately taken away. And so we are literally trained in our school systems and like in our families and things to believe specific things. We are told this is what you should believe in instead of looking within ourselves and remembering things that because your DNA is powerful. Like no one can take that from you, and your DNA is unique to you. So like you need to trust your body and like what you're feeling. And I think it's weird that science went from like they always wanted to know like what was out there and be exploratory. And I think it's odd because to
We
me the
should be
first thing
exploring
you should
ourselves.
understand, yes, if
Yes.
you don't understand what's happening in your mind and in your consciousness and you're not connecting to other beings, then like what are you doing? Because you don't understand anything. So how could you possibly fathom the rest of it?
We're missing the plot, you know? We're missing the plot. Like, this is what we're supposed to be doing.
It's interesting because like
I agree.
the more I've been developing who I am as a person, it's what you said resonates with me in a way that makes me have shivers down my shoulders, and I felt that because it resonates. Like what you said is true for you, but it also makes sense for me. And isn't that a beautiful thing where we're able just to say what's on our mind and we can feel it, and that feeling is data, and we can apply meaning to that and however we need. Right.
I mean, I think that people underestimate the level of conscientiousness that we possess and also the level of which it can spread. Because, I mean, think about it. Science talks about like neurological disorders like FND, functional neurological disorder, and they literally say that there are people who can witness someone experiencing FND and then they suddenly get diagnosed with FND because they saw it. So and it's like contagious, and I believe that part of that is actually consciousness. Like someone's energy is being put out there, then that person notices, and then like they absorb some of that energy. And I don't think people talk about that enough.
100%. And you had mentioned earlier about our DNA. Our DNA goes so much deeper than I think many people realize. I learned recently that the trauma that our grandmothers experience trickle
Epigenetics.
down into our DNA.
So I was studying that in 8th grade.
Oh,
I
well,
have
I'm
literal
33 and I just learned
evidence
it.
that but it wasn't big when I was in 8th grade, but I grew up in foster care, and I was arguing with
Okay.
them about my symptomology, and I was arguing that what I was experiencing in my body was generational trauma that was passed down on top of the trauma that I was experiencing in my life, which was compounded, which makes it more complex. So I had different needs, and I was trying to explain this to them using epigenetics, and they thought that I was like insane. And then like recently they came out with a study where they studied Holocaust family members and like their DNA and how it affected their DNA, and they were able to confirm that trauma lives in the body. It is passed down generationally. You feel the things that your ancestors felt. That is how powerful our DNA is. Our DNA is also so powerful that we can literally rewire things and choose to like change our mindsets and believe a different thing. You know what I mean? Like, people underestimate how powerful the brain is. Like,
That's why it's the most fascinating organ. They're still trying to figure it out, how the brain works. It's
and
crazy.
I actually, if you look at ancient texts, I think consciousness is not actually connected to the brain. I know that everybody assumes that it is, but I actually think that your originating consciousness comes from your heart, because it gives off the strongest bioelectromagnetical, like, in all of your body. It gives off the strongest magnetism. So I think the consciousness starts there. I think your consciousness lives here, and I think your consciousness lives in your gut.
Yep.
So it lives in 3 places.
Wholeheartedly agree with that, Jenny.
Maybe I sound nuts. Sorry.
No. Oh my gosh.
This makes sense.
What a crew, Brady. Look at you just wrangling in all these.
I don't know. Is this amazing? Colored glass. Do you have any like perspective or like things that resonate with you about this?
I like to take it at a more literal sense. Not that it's like, I don't think about it in the DNA sense. I look at it as, you hate me for saying it, but ghosts or haunting from our parents, from their parents. I like to put those energies or thoughts that you are given into literal people and not say it's our DNA. It's these actual individuals who walk the earth that have decayed away, but they're not really decayed away. Their energy has just moved on into us.
It's interesting.
But isn't that DNA?
Well, yes, but
Like,
I go into a
because-
spiritual sense of it too, because I want to feel these people. I don't want to feel like it's the chemicals inside me. It's these people that lived before me.
I
But
believe
it's
both
not
are true. I think there's a
chemicals.
spiritual
It's
level
your
and a
literal
biological
makeup.
level to it.
Does that make sense? Like, I guess that's what I was getting at. It's also about like sacred geometry. I know that this is gonna sound crazy too, but listen, the double
dig
helix.
into it, Jenny. Dig into it.
The double helix. Where else do we see the double helix? Naturally. We don't. That's the answer. The only other time we see the double helix is when the universe is connecting organisms and creating new galaxies. It looks like a web. It is very similar to when an embryo blast, like, emits light. And that's also what we exhibit in the universe. So, like, I think
With
that
a
consciousness
nebula.
is, yes, it's everywhere. And so I also, physics says that when you die, right, anything that is physical matter cannot actually be destroyed. So when you die, are you really, your consciousness is not dead. Your consciousness is going somewhere else, because you
Relocated.
can't be destroyed.
Yep.
Like, physics says so. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think the Buddhists kind of got it kind of right, you know?
Agreed.
I do
In
love the
what- in what
Buddhists.
ways?
You don't walk into a
Elaborate.
front, you walk into the next person. You walk into your children, you walk into your relatives. You don't walk into a frog.
Interesting, yeah. I tend to think that, it's maybe my way of just feeling less alone, but I like to think that everyone I can possibly think of, with me consenting them to be, can experience Brady as I'm experiencing Brady too. Does that make sense?
Can you expand on that a little bit?
It doesn't have to.
I understand the kinship.
It doesn't have to be true. It's just my way of, I can talk with these voices, like my friends, like, I could talk about Bernie or Billy, my friend, and they're with me, and I speak to them, but they're not with me. They're just abstractions. They're like characters in my mind. Like, I can't apply these characters. I can't apply these characters to the actual real deals of people, right? But perhaps in the future they can come back to being with me all along, and they're guiding me to be Brady, even though I am. But like I have sorry, it's kind of wild, but I allow them to control me.
I'm in the same boat, man.
Yeah.
I hear you.
That reminds me of a quote from Tumblr days. I came across was that we are a mosaic of everyone we've ever known.
That's interesting. I like that.
And I believe that to be
Not
true.
the rest of you.
So someone once asked me, what do I experience life like, right? And like that's a wild question to ask anybody. But I immediately told them I live inside of a kaleidoscope. Everything is always changing. Patterns are always changing. The colors are always shifting. The light is always different. I never know for sure like what's going to happen, but what I do know is that there are infinite possibilities and it is always changing and I should be paying attention. So like I feel like I relate to a kaleidoscope, and I know that that's weird because I'm a human and it's an object, but it's a
Yeah,
myth.
at the same time, you
I
don't
think it's an
control.
interesting question to ponder. Brady and Colored Glass, how would you say that you experience life? I think that's a great question.
But there's certain moments where I can force myself to slow down and focus on one color of that kaleidoscope. Um, my name's Nate. You can call me Nate.
Thank you. I didn't want to ask. Some people like to go by their tag names.
No,
Hi,
it's my
Nate.
name.
Okay, so slow down, focus on one color, but then other times, is it a bit more chaotic?
Yeah, it's like the people around me are dictating my world. I mean, like I said this earlier, but you aren't you without the rest of you, and you're going to find that to be everyone that you encounter in life.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can walk away from people, that's for sure.
I think also people forget that like there is really such a thing as like cleansing your energy when you experience someone else's energy and it is negative, like just walking away isn't always enough. It lingers. Your body remembers, your mind remembers, your consciousness remembers, and like I think people forget like how powerful even just our thoughts are, because we might be subconsciously saying like I'm hoping and like wishing that this person doesn't get a hold of me out of fear, right? But then we are accidentally manifesting that like, and then next thing you know, the person that you have blocked or whatever for good reason is calling you and you're like, dang, did I do this to myself by worrying about something that could have potentially never happened if I would have just maybe not been worried about something that wasn't a for sure or was a what if.
Right. It's interesting because I believe fear is the root cause of all unnecessary suffering. And if the individual can eradicate fear from the mind, they can lead more productive and fulfilling lives. This doesn't mean we can't feel fear. Like feeling emotions is a good thing. It's just data, but we shouldn't let it dictate how we think. And I think that's how we progress is getting over that idea.
I would say that my personal view on fear is that it's actually an illusion. I think that what we experience in our as an emotion as what we call fear is actually just fight or flight survival. Like, does that make sense? I think that fear was created because it controls people. Because what else controls people? Hope. And if people have hope, you cannot control them. So, what do? You sow fear. You continue to sow fear. You promise people that like you have the answers and that like you're going to do right by them, and then you people believe them, and like we're experiencing that now unfortunately with like Fauci pleading the fifth after all this time.
Right.
you know
Yeah,
so it's important to have your own mind. Do you know what I mean? Because like I remember that time, and I remember like feeling like it was very suspicious. Like I had never in my life seen a vaccine be promoted, like you're gonna get your name put in for $1 million drawing. I was like, this is weird. Why are you guys pushing me so hard for a vaccine? And then what was even weirder was like they were like, okay, so if you want to keep working and like paying your bills, you have to get the COVID vaccine in order to work. So then people were under the impression that that was true, that that was just like law, but they don't remember that you have consciousness and you have a brain, and there is always a loophole or another option that you are allowed to choose if you dare to find it. And that's what I did. I never got that vaccine. I got an exemption, and I've never had any issues with not having that vaccine. But my sister had complications.
What was that, Nate?
She didn't let fear control her. So
Yeah.
sometimes when you're teaching kids these concepts, you can't really teach them because it's not. You know who you are. First, you make a mistake, and then the fear takes over and says you might make that mistake again, and then you conquer the fear. So you telling a kid to not listen to fear, they have to understand that themselves, that it's just a part of who they are, and that you're going to make mistakes, and you cannot be fearful for trying again, for persevering. But for adults, us, the best thing we can do is take it from God's word. First, there was darkness. You go back into that complete nothing and say, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. What exists are my ambitions. You let your first word be love. You go back into this clean slate. Then you have to take meditation. Everyone's kind of right in the ways you approach it, though.
So something I found through like my own personal research when I was in high school was that I was brought up in an environment that was like Southern Baptist Christian. And from a very young age, I was asking apparently too many questions. And when I wasn't provided with like logical explanations, I didn't want to go anymore because I was like, these people that are trying to preach to me don't know what they're preaching to me because they can't explain it to me.
Right, they're not putting themselves in.
What?
They're not seeing themselves in you is the issue.
Well, I got curious because like there's so many different religions, right? And they're telling me that this is the one true religion. Like at my church, they were telling me this is the one true religion, and like all other religions are like false, right? And like I was like, that sounds pretty sketch to me. I'm gonna check out these other religions, do some theological research, and then deduce my conclusions. What I found was that across all of these different religions, they all hold the same 5 core principles. So are they really all super different, or are they all based on the same origin and they call their God something different?
Well, the true God is the forgiving and loving one, the one that'll give you a second chance. That is who I believe Christ is, and I don't know this sword, I don't know this negativity, but I know that the right approach of a God would say, hey, you made a mistake, let's learn.
I like that. So what? So I guess we can go around like who's like a theist or who's not a theist or agnostic or atheist or like, what do you think, Colored Glass and Janae?
I go down the Catholic route only because I want to see heaven on earth, and I think bringing the Father into the world is the right idea, and the understanding Christ's story, and just I try to connect with everybody though. So my main baseline is black and white, and I really try to draw lines from everything to everything. And I think it's right. I think it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, keeping like an open mind to different ideas, I think, is critical.
So you call me agnostic.
I would say it's hard for me because I don't particularly agree with labels in general. I think that by putting yourself in a box, you're kind of screwing the pooch.
Yes.
I think that anytime you put yourself in a box, you're consciously putting yourself in a cage and you are limiting yourself. That's why I don't believe in the party system. That's why, I don't think that things that are run the way that they are run, it was literally built so that we would be divided. They wouldn't be putting us in boxes if they didn't want us to not get along.
And putting ourselves in boxes makes other people comfortable because they know how to view us, how to define us.
To classify us without even speaking to us, without evaluating us, without knowing our history, without just approaching us with kindness and understanding and just like wanting to hear a testimony. It's let me look at this document and see what everybody else has had to say about you, and let's not even speak to the person that is actually living that life experience. Doesn't really make sense to me. But
I think as above, so below. You can't experience true beauty unless you have experienced true darkness. The sun did what the sun had to do. I mean, he showed us what death is and what his triumphs deserve. I mean, that's going to be everybody. We're all going to walk to our death, but at least we are able to experience true beauty coming out of darkness and not going from true beauty in our childhood and in our adulthood, and then by the 60s, we're falling off the edge. I kind of want to die when I'm 50.
What are your opinions? I couldn't. Brooke, sorry, I am currently 75% blind. I started going blind in February. And they don't know what's going on. So, like, they think
Sorry.
maybe I've got like an autoimmune vascular disease on top of having Ehlers-Danlos syndrome.
That
And so,
cannot
like,
be easy to go through, Jenny. I'm so sorry.
it's not. That's why I'm actually in this chat, because I was feeling really down and I had a gut feeling that I was going to find a place that was good tonight.
There you go.
And
That
then-
consciousness in your gut, Jenny.
I know. I'm like, I might be going blind, but maybe I'm seeing more than people think. You know?
You don't
Like,
gotta see to see. You know what I mean?
Well, what's really weird about that is that, like, I don't talk about this a lot because, like, I know that it sounds peculiar to say the least, but I've experienced it since childhood, and I didn't really know what they were, but I started to pay more attention to them. I call them like downloads, basically, but I get what I would describe as like little movies like delivered into my brain, and it's very fast and rapid, and it is like a lot of information and patterns and things, and sometimes they don't seem like they're related at all. And so at first I kept ignoring them because I thought I was nuts. Okay, I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. Like, I was like, somebody's gonna place me with the sticky socks forever. I don't want string cheese and apple juice for the rest of my life.
Oh,
You know? So like,
yeah.
I started to settle down. So then I started to like document it though. And the more I documented it and the more that I did research about like what I was seeing in my mind, the more I was like, how is this happening? And like, where is it coming from? And is this like asynchronous cognition? And also, it would be nice if someone could tell me who's doing it. Because they're oddly specific. And it's information that I did not have, that I like do not like, that I've not studied, that I've not, and so basically this happened literally last night, so I think it's interesting that I'm chatting with you guys today. But like, I just had this weird feeling or whatever, got a download type thing, and it started with like the Pentagon, right, being founded in like 1941. And then it started with like Israel being founded in 1948. And then like, I just had this brief flash of some guy, I'm guessing an American guy, and he was like, America is Israel's first proud ally or whatever. And I didn't know like what was happening. And the next thing I see is that like, I'm in Spain, right? Weird. I don't know why I'm in Spain. In Spain. And then I see Christopher Columbus. Why is Christopher Columbus there? I don't know. But then I find out in my like download thing, I'm like, Christopher Columbus is not his real name. Like, his name was Cristoforo Colombo, and it was changed. But what people what I realized in my download, because like I did not again have this knowledge prior to last night, when I had this like flash, I saw him getting on a boat, and on the boat it said 1492. And then I saw him in the water sailing, and he had a bunch of guys with him, whatever. Then like, he was super excited, and they hit land, and I saw him writing in a diary type thing, and he wrote 1492, but there was the Star of like David like symbol on there. And I was like, I've never, like, I don't know what this means. Do you know what I mean? And so like, I kept watching what was happening, and then it flashed back to going to Spain, and people were crying and like begging, and like, I guess the government in Spain in 1492 was like burning Jewish texts and stuff, and it made me feel really sad and like heartbroken. And I just didn't really understand what was happening. And then like, my next flashes were like of my granddad's Masonic symbol, which is odd. Then the next flash was the CERN statue of Shiva. which I was like, okay, universe, like, where are you leading me? Like, in this weird reel here. And the symbolism is like eerily similar. Then I saw something called like the Key of Solomon or something, and the Star of David is like all over that. So then I got like just bold letters in my brain that said, do not trust the 144, that like some guy named Baal is like not a demon, that Baal was like a ritual. And then I had a flash of like Cain, which is weird because again, I'm not religious. Um, and he was getting his finest crops and like giving them. And I saw a statue that also had the Star of David on it. It was gold and it said Moloch. I don't know who that guy is, but I then saw people bringing kids to this like statue, and these kids were like screaming and like crying and like just it was not a good thing. And it scared me. I felt like I needed to like do something, but I obviously couldn't. And the next thing I know, I'm looking at a lotus flower and I'm hungry, like really hungry, but I don't eat it. And then this guy knocks me over, steals the lotus flower out of my hand and like shoves it in his mouth and starts eating it. And I'm like, what the hell? You know, like what's going on here?
What the hell?
So then I like went through all of this and I researched everything and it was like all connected. And I was like, man, my brain be doing some whatever it's doing, because like all of the things that I did not know and all of the things that I described were real things that happened. And how would I know?
Where do you think all these like original ideas, or just in general, original ideas or visions like of these like images come from? Like, where do you think that originates from?
I used to think I just had an overactive imagination until like I found out I was autistic and I process things differently. So then I just thought maybe it was some with autism, you know, honestly. But it's not like I have talked to my therapist and stuff about it as an adult, because like I did want to just like get it out there because it was on my chest. And after she went over several of like my downloads and all of the research that I had connected to these downloads, like she was like, this is not psychosis, but I don't know what it is. Like, because she's like, I can't tell you what you're experiencing isn't real, because obviously it is, because like it's actually connecting things, which she said could be linked to like my hyper systemizing and basically just it being able to see like the underlying architecture of systems that most people don't realize.
That's interesting. I've never met someone that like goes through this stuff like that, so I think it's interesting just hearing like your story and like your experience.
No, it's pretty
I
real.
just I feel crazy when I like I am being very vulnerable by telling you that. Like I just need you to know I've like
Right.
never publicly shared this
Appreciate it
out
for
of
being
You
open.
shouldn't feel crazy. Like I think this is something that we all have the capability to tap into. It's just a matter of the condition. I personally believe that neurodiversity has a part to play in this. Because in a lot of cultures, if you were like on the spectrum, if you're autistic specifically, you were considered kind of like on the same level as an elder, because you have a perspective and you can attune to things and perceive things in a way that others cannot. And I think that's exactly what you experienced.
what's weird about that is that like I've also so like I know Nate, you were saying uh that you don't think about, I guess, maybe the DNA as much, but like I got really into it, I suppose. And so like I really wanted to know like my heritage and like what my ethnicity was, because I do have siblings, but I look very different from my siblings and we have the same parents. So it's like, where did I come from? And I think a lot of people forget your genes that are passed down from your parents, like ethnicity wise, are different. from your siblings. Like, so for instance, my sister is not French at all. I'm French. My sister is not Danish at all. I'm Danish. My sister's not Native American at all. I'm Native American. Like, where did this come from? I'm Estonian. I'm Irish. I'm Scottish. I'm Welsh. And I'm like, all right, North African. Like, but why? You know, like where did it come from?
We live in a chaos, and so they are pulling identifiers out of the DNA and making a lot of assumptions. I mean, that's the only thing I can come to conclusions to because, regardless, I think everybody holds everything, and it's never predictable.
I don't think that everybody holds everything personally just because like there are people who have gotten like their DNA tested and whatnot and they are like 100% Korean or like 100% like one thing. And so I guess what makes me curious also is if anybody knows about haplogroups at all.
I never heard about that.
So a haplogroup is basically like your maternal or your paternal line. And so it gives you a lot of information about like where you actually descended from based on your haplogroup. And so that was one of the things I kind of went down the rabbit hole on. I was able to find out what my maternal haplogroup was because I did a DNA test. And so my personal haplogroup is U5A1, which is like 30 to 40,000 years old. So it was like we were clubbing mammoths, hunter gatherers, ice age, you know, women, I suppose. Then I begged my dad for years to do a 23andMe because I needed to know my paternal haplogroup. Like it was a desperate desire. He finally did it. And my inkling of intuition that like his was going to be weird was like 100% spot on. My dad has a very rare haplogroup. He should not be alive. Like we should not be alive. I should not be here. Less than 0.02% of the world descends from this haplogroup. It's called H-P96 and it is a branch that escaped from the Bronze Steppe age in Europe, and then we don't know how they migrated. And like, I live in Oklahoma, guys. I'm like, I don't know how my ancestors got here and spread the HP96, but they literally are looking for like specific haplogroups like that to study, but I don't want to be studied. You know, I'm not a freaking science experiment. I'm on my own self journey here, dog.
You're worried
You
about
know?
yourself right now.
Well, I think that it's an invasive thing to be lumping. I think it's another category thing. And so I think when you let people research you like that, you're allowing them to also research other people who could potentially be related to you because you're like from the same haplogroup. And I think that that can put people in a vulnerable position because I do think that they study our DNA not just for like health reasons to help us. You
It's
feel?
not for the benefit of humankind. That information is meant to be kept within and used against us eventually. That's like the are you familiar with the Monroe Files?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What are
The
those?
Gateway Project?
Yes. So I was in Gate as a kid actually, and
No way.
Yes, I got kicked out of Gate because I asked too many questions. I refused to drink the drink. I asked them why they were having me guess what magic card was going to be under there if they weren't testing me for like weird supernatural abilities. I was immediately removed and then I was placed in a residential facility.
Yikers, dude.
Yeah. Then they like diagnosed me with bipolar disorder, which I did not have because I'm autistic, not
That's it.
bipolar.
How old were you?
So this all started when I was 10. That was the first time they ever put me in a psych ward, and they actually, it was very traumatic, I won't lie, because I was 10. I thought my parents or somebody would like protect me, and instead, like, I was placed in handcuffs from Telluride, Colorado to a facility in Denver, Colorado. I was not given any information. Why would you put a 10-year-old girl in handcuffs for like 8 hours? Like, I was not doing anything to endanger anybody, and matter of fact, I was exhibiting like autistic meltdown symptoms. Like, they were very obvious. And so while I was at this place, because I was like so scared and like anxious and I couldn't regulate myself, they put me in a straitjacket and they left me alone in a dark room for 30 minutes in that straitjacket. And the whole time, like, I was shivering. And if I was crying when they opened the door, they were like, we're going to leave you in here for another 15 minutes until you regulate. But I couldn't regulate because I
You
was
needed to
cocooned
co-regulate.
and trapped. Like, I was like alone on a literal metal table in a straitjacket with no adult supervision. I could not see a door. The way that I was like strapped in, like I could not move, and I really felt like I was gonna like die. Do you know what I mean? Like they were gonna leave me in there and never come back. I was 10, obviously. Like, I just didn't trust what was happening.
Sure.
And then they immediately the next morning were like, here's 4 pills. We're not going to tell you what they are. You need to swallow these. And because, you know, you're psychotic. And I'm 10.
Is Nate frozen or does he have his hand up?
Put my hand up.
I'm blind, so I'm so sorry.
So you were afraid of them. They put you in handcuffs. I'm telling you, they're afraid of themselves because you were in a state of extorting truth, or trying to find meaning in your reality, or trying to find meaning for yourself. And they're afraid of themselves. So that's why they put you in a room. And they don't, is every action has a reaction. They're afraid of their own reflection on you. I went to the psych ward, I think 4 times. And they're afraid of themselves because I will show them what they are.
I'm the
Especially
same
as a
way. I'm
child,
like,
Jenny. Children are so
Yeah.
like you're not jaded yet, you know? Like you see the world so purely and for what it's meant to be. So that intuition that you had as a child, I'm sure, I mean, it sounds crazy for us to know like they put a 10-year-old in handcuffs, but to Nate's point, they were fearful of it. And what the perceptions that you had.
well, and they placed me in foster care, right? But they didn't remove my siblings because I was the scapegoat. Like, because I was the problem, because I was telling them, like, my mom needs help. I love my mom, and like my family needs help, and like we need help because I want to be with my mom and I want to be with my family. And they were like, you're nuts, your mom is fine. My mom was not fine, by the way, just FYI. And so that's when like all this Jenny's crazy and is like psychotic stuff's like started. And then it did not end until I had a revelation when I was like 13 or 14. And I was like, I'm going to have to pretend to comply until I can leave and actually just be alone and isolate the way that I need to, because I logically understand that these expectations that are being placed upon me are not logical, are not reasonable, nor are they age appropriate. On top of being in foster care and experiencing trauma, in my IEP, which I still have like copies of in my foster binder, it literally says, in order for Jenny to go to real school, not public school, real school, Jenny has to control her emotions 100% of the time. What person do you know, as an adult even, that can control their emotions 100% of the time?
No, we reflect. There's no dictation. There's no prediction. It's just hope. It's faith in each other. You gotta surround yourself with love if that's what you want, and it's just where we end up.
I just think that sometimes, like, our world has gotten so divided, and like I love TikTok as a platform, like when I can come on these chats and like experience other people, because I'm very open-minded. I love listening to people. I love hearing other perspectives because it does affect my perspective. I do take in what people say and it does reshape what I feel and like how I experience things. So I also just wanted to say thank you to all of you for letting me be here and just like much love.
Yeah, appreciate you guys like everyone just like being open with their and vulnerable with their thoughts. I think this is a beautiful thing, and I appreciate you guys just for being here and speaking your mind.
How often do you do this?
It's been less consistent the past couple weeks. I was kind of in a not really in a depression, but I kind of got in my head, um, and it's weird because I'm like fake. I feel like a fraud. I'm like, why am I thinking about this? And I forget about like talks like this, and it's talks like this that remind me like what I'm doing. I think is important, and it's good to model out these healthy dialogues, and I'm trying to get more consistent with it just to reach more people. And so it's been the past 3 days in a row so far this week.
Well, rock on, man. Like, I'm proud of you that you were able to, like, be consistent because that's also my biggest problem. I have a following on TikTok. I'm not sure how, honestly, because I'm so inconsistent. But when I do go live, like, people show up and things. When it's me by myself, it feels intimidating, I think. And, like, I can't, it feels like I need consciousness. I need more consciousness to like bounce off of. Like I need people.
Right, right. Like, what do you typically like? What's your prompt when you go on TikTok, or like, what do you try to? What's your goal with it?
So, I've actually been writing a book series, for like 4.5 years, and
Incredible.
it was cathartic for me. Um, and I didn't realize till after I wrote the majority of it that I was writing exactly how I believe the world that I live in should actually be.
Interesting. Okay.
Ooh.
But I also created 4 languages. So, like, I love Tolkien and I'm obsessed with Tolkien. And so I created my own Konglang. And so I have a glyph system, and then I have 3 different languages which you can actually speak.
That's awesome. That is so cool. That's so cool.
I'm afraid to publish though, guys, because like I have the first 3 books like ready to go. I've had beta people read. I've had a publisher read. Everybody's given me good reviews, and in my brain, I still am like, it's gonna fail.
Take
And
the
if it
lead,
fails,
Jenny. You have a publisher?
like, well, they were like, we think you could traditionally publish, and I was like, I'm gonna self-publish, girl. Like, I don't want no traditional publishing
Sure.
house owning my stuff. You know,
Yeah.
this is my brain. I created it. So my plan is to like self-publish on KDP, and then I'm hoping that book one. I'm terrified that I'm gonna release book one, and people are gonna like not love book one, and then I wasted all my time writing 9 books.
No, it's not a
But
waste.
that would be feedback, you know? At the very least, that would be feedback.
You're putting your thoughts. You're putting your abstract thoughts to words on a page, and you're making it real. That's important.
It's like Ella, it's like about a celestial experience basically, but it is about a girl who she grows up in like the mortal realm, and she is mortal to her knowledge for the most part. Nothing weird's ever really happened. Aside from just like odd memories and things. And then unfortunately she's in foster care, and she is with a nice elderly woman, and something happens to that nice elderly woman, and she's forced to move homes. And it's her senior year of high school, which, as we all know, like when you're in high school, you take your senior year serious. You know, you're like, what am I gonna be after this? Like, what am I gonna do? So that's what she's thinking, right? And she meets a girl, and like they have a really good connection. And as a person who grew up in foster care, she has never really had great connections and has been moved around a lot and hasn't really had that opportunity to build those good connections with people. So she kind of felt like it was like good to meet this girl at school, and then this girl at school turns out to be more than a girl at school, if you know what I mean. And she finds out that she's actually not mortal and that she belongs in the celestial realm. And the whole reason it is very, there's 7 royal houses. There's a academy that all royals are required to go to in order to rule. And if you do not graduate, you cannot rule. It is deadly, but they honor their dead. They have something called the Garden of Souls, which preserves the aura of the person that passed on campus. And then it is engraved, and their aura literally glows in an orb, a soul orb, so that you can feel that person's essence again when you miss them.
Huh.
I'm intrigued.
Is
I
that
love
weird?
fantasy.
Sorry.
I'd want to read that.
Well, on my TikTok, I did post one thing about my book, only one, because I'm still terrified.
Publish it.
It's
Publish
been
it. Publish
Publish
it.
it.
Publish it.
It's 77 chapters, and everyone keeps telling me no one will read it because it's 77 chapters long.
Whatever. Do it.
It's 50-50.
That's worse. I prefer 70-30.
But what if it's the
Life
other
is
way
about
around?
taking risks. Come on, put yourself out there. I'm sure there are people that will like resonate with it. Obviously, you have a personal connection to it. It's such an interesting and unique take. I think you should dive in. I met you
Well-
probably an hour ago, but I think you should do it.
You're so sweet. Thank you for hyping me.
Of course.
I've had like a horrible week, and I just really feel like I was meant to be here and talk to you guys, and I'm just so grateful for you.
Grateful for you too.
You guys are all great. You guys are all great. I think it's it's the stories we tell ourselves that's critical, because like we all do this in our own ways, right? But I think it's like we get to these, like we think about how the future can be, and what should be good, and I think it's the stories we tell ourselves to like progress as a human species, right? And I think there's like a universal story we can like get behind, and I think we're kind of like trying to figure that out as we tell stories, with books, with movies, with video games, whatever it might be. And I think we're getting closer, and I'm optimistic that we can do it, like make it universal and in a way that resonates with all people.
I think
Well,
we can do it.
I
It's
published
better we
it.
do it together rather than in isolation.
Right.
I hope
that's-
that maybe you'll read 10 chapters at the bare minimum, and if you hate it, like, no hate, literally, like, all the love, I'll try again. Eventually, it might take me 10 years for the emotional blow to wear off, but like, I'll revamp. I'll come back. You know.
You don't know until you know, Jenny.
If you know, you know.
All right, guys. I'm probably gonna end it for the night, but if you guys want to say one last thing, or just like have a closing thought, I'll let you guys speak.
Stay positive. Don't be negative. Don't do nothing if you turn negative.
I love
Then
that.
you'll
I love that.
then the switch back on. Don't let it be red.
I just appreciate you, Brady, and you holding this platform in a space where people can speak vulnerably and openly and have respect for each other and, be open to different opinions.
Appreciate you, Brooke. Thank you. Yeah, you guys have all been fantastic. Just to come on here and being vulnerable and open. I think it's a really good thing that we're doing on TikTok, and I hope to have more conversations like this with you guys in the future too.
I would just say probably my closing thought is to remember that our words do have power, and that it's important to understand that every word has a root, such as the word impossible. If you separate the M from the possible, what does it spell? I'm possible, and I am.
I love that. I love that. That's great. You guys are all great. I appreciate you guys so much. Really.
I appreciate you too. And it was nice to meet you, Brooke, Nate, and Brady. And I hope that maybe someday we can all get together again. I am gonna go sign off because I'm not gonna lie, I'm real tired, and I'm grateful for this.
Yes. This is
Good night, guys. Take
Good night.
care.
Yep. Take care.
Night.
All right. Bye bye.
Peace and love. How do I hang up?
I'm trying to hang up too. Okay, I'll get out of
I'm like,
here.